I love Mexican food, and I'm sure you do too. So when I'm in the mood for something Mexican, I make my chili nachos. Now the trick here is in the chip that I use and the chili that I make. I buy a lot of products. I am always searching for products that are gluten-free, low in sugar, low in carbohydrate, and high in protein. And I found that in this particular quinoa chip. But for the nachos, I like to use the barbecue flavor because I think it just gives it a little bit more spice. Now I make my own chili. I think beans are great. I do eat some beans, but I find that beans, if I eat a lot of beans, that I feel very bloated and I look bloated. So what I do is I make a turkey chili using ground turkey breast, the 99% fat-free, and all the other chili ingredients that you would use, but I leave the beans out. And I do that because I really do try to stay low carb. So the trick to this now is you just take a half a cup, which I've pre-measured. I think I've mentioned in my other videos that I like to pre-measure my food and have it ready. So what I do is I have a half a cup and I put a little bit of the warm turkey chili on each one of the chips. No need to be super careful about it, but you do want to get each chip to have some of the chili. Because you know the nature of nachos is really everything kind of comes together. And we are going to use cheese, we're just not going to use that much. Now you can eliminate the cheese. Some people prefer not to use it, and especially people who are dairy-free, and I know so many of you are. I happen to eat cheese in limited quantities. But on a dish like this, I think it does give, you know, a nice little authentic taste. It makes me feel like I'm eating the real thing. Which these are, just made a different way with different ingredients. Okay, so we've put the chili on top of the chips. And now I'm going to use 2 or 3 tablespoons, this is 2 tablespoons, of a reduced fat shredded cheese. Now, I don't like fat-free cheeses. I feel that they taste horrible. They don't melt properly. So a little fat is fine. Fat is not the enemy. Sugar is really the enemy. So I sprinkle the cheese on. Now remember, my chili was already warm, so it isn't like this has to be in the microwave for a long time. And I'm going to put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to melt the cheese. Now you can use any flavor. This happens to be a nacho flavored cheese, but you can use cheddar. You can use mozzarella, you can use American, you can use whatever kind of cheese you want to use, as long as it's reduced fat, or as I said earlier, you can just eliminate that altogether. Now we're going to add some guacamole to this. Today you can find guacamoles in health food stores that are very nutritious. They're basically just mashed avocado with some cilantro, some lime juice, and they use no filler, no mayonnaise, no other added fats. But if you want, you can also take a half of a small avocado and dice that up and use that in place of the guacamole. But I like the guac, they've done all the work for you. So now we have the cheese melted on the nachos, and we're gonna add all the traditional toppings. So what I like to do, I use 2 spoons and I put a little bit of guac on the chips. And depending on how I'm eating that day, some days I like to eat a little cleaner and leaner than other days. I might just alternate every other chip. But I end up using, I'd say about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons of the guacamole. So now I'm going to add the sour cream. And again, I'm using a reduced fat sour cream, which is so incredibly low in calories and so tasty. And again, I alternate. I don't put it on every chip. I'm going to get the taste, but you'd be surprised how little of a food you can use to give you a real full flavor. You just kind of want to know that the sour cream and the guacamole are there. And then the last step is to just douse it with salsa. And I like to use a salsa that's really almost more like a pico de gallo, and I like it very spicy. This, you can eat as much of this as you want because this has basically no calories. And again, I like spicy salsa, or if you don't like salsa, you can leave it off. You can use the salsa verde if you want. That's the green salsa. All of them are low calorie. And again, if you're buying something, I always try to go for low sodium. And there it is. Olay. I think I'm going to try one right now. Delicious. Adios, amigas.